If you ever felt their energy change the moment things got serious, it wasn't because their love disappeared. It was because their fear took the wheel. They felt vulnerable, exposed, and the safest move for them was to retreat, not to hurt you, but to protect themselves. This doesn't make it okay for them to disappear or go silent without communication. But understanding this pattern gives you your power back. Their distance is a reflection of them, not a measurement of you. And when you stop blaming yourself, you start healing. Because the way they protect themselves might look like avoidance, but underneath it all, there's still a heart trying to figure out how to love without fear. Sometimes we expect love to look a certain way: words of affirmation, long talks, hand-holding, open vulnerability. But not everyone speaks the same emotional language, especially not someone with an avoidant attachment style. You see, avoidants don't always show love the way we want, they show it the way they know. And most of the time, that love is quiet, indirect, and wrapped in practicality. They might not say, "I love you," but they'll fix something you casually mentioned was broken. They won't always initiate deep conversations, but they'll make sure you ate. They remember how you take your coffee, what movie makes you cry, and the way you rub your thumb when you're nervous. And they do things, small things that feel routine to them, but mean the world if you're paying attention. You might be waiting for the big cinematic gestures, but for an avoidant, love is in the details. It's when they show up even though they'd rather be alone. It's when they let you see a part of their world they usually guard. It's when they cancel their comfort zone just to spend time with you. These acts may seem small, but they're huge for someone who fears closeness. Vulnerability doesn't come easy to them. So when they do anything that hints at care or commitment, it's not casual, it's intentional. And while they might not put their emotions into words, they often put them into actions. Fixing your car, walking your dog, sending you a meme that made them think of you, those are their love letters. But here's the catch: if you don't understand this, you might miss the meaning behind those actions. You might think they're cold, distant, or uninterested, when in reality, they're doing everything they can in the way they know how. They weren't taught emotional expression, they were taught emotional survival. And survival doesn't leave much room for vulnerability. So yes, they love differently. But different doesn't mean absent. Their love isn't always loud, it's often quiet, steady, and hidden beneath layers of self-protection. If you're only listening for words, you might miss what their actions are trying to say. But don't confuse emotional hesitation with emotional emptiness. They may not give love in the way you recognize, but if you slow down and observe, you'll find it in the everyday moments, unspoken, unflashy, but still deeply real. Sometimes love doesn't shout. Sometimes it whispers, and those whispers still matter. When you love someone with an avoidant attachment style, there's a moment, maybe several, where their reaction to your presence feels confusing, even painful. You show up with love, openness, vulnerability, and instead of stepping closer, they step back. And that withdrawal can feel deeply personal. But the truth is, your presence often threatens their wounds, not their heart. You see, avoidants aren't afraid of you, they're afraid of what loving you awakens in them. Things they've buried, fears they've hidden, emotions they were taught to suppress. When someone gets close, it doesn't just feel intimate, it feels dangerous. Not because love is wrong, but because being seen feels like exposure. And when someone's early experiences of closeness were filled with unpredictability, criticism, or emotional neglect, love stops feeling like a gift and starts feeling like a risk. So when you reach in gently, sincerely, they tense up. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because love threatens the false safety of their emotional walls. You didn't cause the panic, you just triggered it. And deep down, part of them believes that the closer someone gets, the more power they have to hurt them. So they push, they retreat, they say, "I need space," not because they don't want you, but because they don't know how to hold you without losing themselves. It's heartbreaking because here you are, giving pure vive, and they're feeling panic instead of peace. But it's not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their unhealed past. You remind them sometimes, without even realizing it, of the vulnerability they've spent their whole lives avoiding. Your kindness disarms them. Your consistency confuses them. Your love shines a light into places they've kept dark for years. And that's powerful, but also terrifying for them. But here's the twist: if they didn't feel something for you, they wouldn't be shaken at all. Indifference doesn't panic. Love does. And sometimes the greatest emotional storms come not from rejection, but from the soul being asked to feel again after years of numbness. So no, your presence doesn't hurt them, it heals something in them they didn't know was still broken. But healing is never pretty. It comes with resistance, confusion, even anger. Yet beneath all that noise, there's a heart learning, slowly, that maybe closeness doesn't have to cost them their safety. That maybe love can be soft. That maybe being seen doesn't mean being abandoned. And in those rare moments when the walls lower just enough, you catch a glimpse of their real self, the one that does love you back, the one that wants to stay, even if it's hard for them to say it out loud. It's easy to believe that love should happen instantly, smoothly, effortlessly. But when you're dealing with someone avoidant, love moves at a different pace. It's not a spark that explodes, it's a slow fire that takes time, safety, and patience to burn. And if you're not grounded, that wait can feel like rejection. But let me tell you something powerful. Patience isn't just a virtue, it's a key. Avoidant individuals aren't unloving. They're just unsure if love is safe. They've spent years convincing themselves that needing someone equals weakness. That attachment leads to pain. So when you come into their life kind, open-hearted, emotionally available, they don't know what to do with it. They test you, pull away, come close, then pull back again. And in that emotional tug of war, they're silently watching. Can I trust this? Will you abandon me if I show you more? Or will you stay steady when I'm shaky? And here's where patience changes everything. Because when you don't chase, they start to breathe. When you don't punish their distance, they start to relax. When you don't try to fix them, they begin to feel safe being seen. Safety is the beginning of transformation for an avoidant. They may not have the language for their emotions, but they notice how you respond to their patterns. Your calm becomes the anchor they never knew they needed. And little by little, they start showing up. Maybe they check in more. Maybe they sit a little longer in your presence. Maybe they finally tell you something real about their past. And when they do, that's not small. That's huge. That's a breakthrough. Now, let's be clear, patience does not mean tolerating neglect or sacrificing your needs. It means being steady without losing yourself. It means giving them room without abandoning your standards. It's not about shrinking, it's about staying rooted in love, even if their way of receiving love is different. You see, patience doesn't fix them. It frees them. It tells them, you don't have to be perfect to be loved. And once they believe that, they don't just grow closer to you, they grow closer to who they were always meant to be beneath the fear. Love them, yes, but do it with a steady heart, clear boundaries, and a deep trust in your own worth. Because if they're ever going to let love in, it will be through the doorway of consistency, not pressure, not pursuit, but presence. There comes a moment, maybe after months or even years, when you realize you've been pouring love into someone who keeps you at arm's length. And in your effort to prove that you're safe, that you're different, that you're worth loving, you slowly start to lose pieces of yourself. You stop asking for what you need. You silence your feelings. You make their comfort more important than your own. And that's where the danger lies. Loving someone with an avoidant attachment style can feel like trying to hold onto water. Just when you think you have them, they slip away. And you tell yourself, if I just hold on longer, if I just love them harder, maybe then they'll stay. But the truth is, no matter how deeply you care, you cannot carry a relationship alone. You cannot sacrifice your emotional needs on the altar of someone else's fear. Because love that costs you your peace is too expensive. And love that asks you to shrink isn't love, it's survival. You have to understand something that avoidants often don't say. Their fear of intimacy isn't your responsibility to fix. Their emotional unavailability is not a reflection of your worth. Yes, their wounds are real. Yes, their past may have taught them to run. But that doesn't mean you were meant to chase. You can hold space for their growth without putting yourself in emotional starvation. You deserve reciprocity. You deserve someone who meets you in the middle. Someone who doesn't punish your vulnerability with silence. Someone who doesn't make you feel like asking for closeness is a crime. It's okay to want deep connection. It's okay to want emotional presence. It's okay to want someone who chooses you fully. Don't let someone's fear convince you that your emotional needs are too much. They're not. They're human. And here's the truth. If you keep abandoning yourself to prove your love, one day you'll look in the mirror and not recognize who you've become. That's not the love story you deserve. So yes, maybe they love you. Maybe they care in their own way. But if they're not showing up for the love you both deserve, don't keep trying to earn what should be freely given. Because the most powerful act of love isn't proving yourself to someone who's unsure. It's choosing yourself when they can't. Love isn't always loud. It doesn't always arrive wrapped in perfect words or obvious actions. Sometimes love shows up in broken rhythms, quiet gestures, or even in silence, especially when it comes from someone who spent their life believing that closeness is dangerous. Avoidant individuals often carry the weight of past pain relationships that taught them love means pressure, exposure, or abandonment. So when they meet someone who offers something safe, something real, their instincts scream retreat. And yet, beneath the withdrawal, there's still a desire to love and be loved. They just don't know how to step into it without fearing they'll disappear in the process. When an avoidant loves you back, it doesn't always look like romance movies or fairy tales. It looks like hesitation, cautious trust, and emotional baby steps. It looks like remembering your favorite things, showing up in practical ways and silently checking in on your world. Their love isn't less real just because it's quiet, but it is a different language. And to understand it, you need patience, empathy, and a very clear sense of self. Because while their journey is about learning how to let love in, your journey is about making sure you're not losing yourself trying to be enough for someone who's still afraid of love. This is the tightrope walk, balancing compassion for their fear with honesty about your needs. You can offer them consistency, stability, and grace. You can create a safe emotional space, but you cannot heal them with your sacrifice. You cannot convince someone to stay if they are still learning how to stop running. Love isn't supposed to feel like a battle for worthiness. It's supposed to feel like a homecoming. And if loving someone always feels like you're waiting in the doorway, hoping they'll choose to walk in, you need to ask yourself, are you building something with them or waiting for them to start? Sometimes the kindest thing you can do for someone who fears connection is to stop chasing them, to let them find their way back on their own terms in their own time. And in doing so, you protect your own heart from the slow erosion of unreciprocated effort. Real love isn't just about who you're willing to fight for, it's also about who's willing to meet you halfway. And when someone begins to feel safe, when they realize you aren't here to trap or fix them, that's when you see real transformation. That's when love becomes possible, not as a performance, but as a choice. So if you're loving someone avoidant, remember this, your patience is a gift, but your self-respect is a boundary. Stay grounded in your own worth. Let your love be steady, but let it also be wise. Because the right person won't just fear your closeness, they'll eventually cherish it. They'll stop running. They'll start choosing. And when they do, you'll finally feel what love is supposed to feel like, not a chase, not confusion, but a peaceful mutual return. Thank you for giving me your time, your presence, and your open heart today. If this message resonated with even a small part of your journey, then know you're not alone. Healing, understanding, and growth take courage, and just by listening, you've taken a step towards something deeper, not just in relationships, but within yourself. Remember, love doesn't have to be perfect to be real, and neither do you. Until next time, take care of your heart, and never forget, you are worthy of the love you keep trying to give. Goodbye for now and stay empowered.